Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. How's it going? What's up? Everything alright, I hope. Anything of new? Anything of old? Anything at all? What's up, guys? As usual, we are back again. Uh, as it has been over the course of the last, I don't know, 2 months? 2.5 months, maybe? It is going to be all about those Blood Bowl Bretts. Where is it? Today I'm gonna try my hand at getting some of these already shaded, based in shaded models, and start detailing them a little bit. And let's start off with the fleshy bits. I'm gonna be switching things around a little bit in that I'll be going back and forth from detailing to base coating the other dudes, and back to detailing. Gonna introduce basing at some point when I get bored of both. As usual, if you notice any weirdness in the audio, the focus, my ability to keep the model in frame, do feel free to, and in fact encouraged, to call it out. Amend it. Please try to do. One thing I did forget is to turn on Discord. In case anyone wants to show off on what they are currently working on. So on and so forth. I noticed last time my audio came out a little bit on the choppy side. I hope I've been able to fix that and do the best of my abilities, and if this is not the case, do let me know. The lighting a little bit. Try. just like the other models. Some highlighting, flesh. Followed by some extra shading recesses. I will mix a little bit of purple, face tone, the hope to smooth out the roughness. Color transitions that is going to build up from highlighting. As usual, the biggest concern I have with Flash, actually surrounding the face area, try and avoid that really annoying kabuki mask effect, where you emphasize the features so much. It starts to look like a mask. Not that human-like at all. Same time, trying to give some depth, color thing. And this is particularly hard to achieve with female faces. Their features are in general a lot softer, so pronounced. Also, on models, they are oftentimes just smaller to begin with. So you need to, at the same time, buy a better detailing game and a better blending game. The scales, I mostly work at wet blending, and brush blending really isn't an option for the faces, so you are only left with glazing as an option, smoothing out. Any roughness. Yield. Color transition also, as you can see, using these paints translucently creates a fairly bad looking chalky effect. This is common for most light colors. Try glaze highlights instead of shadows. It is common have this effect, so whenever possible, you should try and sketch your highlights thicker and more opaque. And restore your undercoats and shadows with blending of whatever sort, kind, and type are comfortable. In this case, though, there is so little flesh that it's not that much of a problem, but since I haven't painted flesh in a bit, it is always good to at least try and keep up. And build up your skills. Try to extend your comfort zone and whatnot. If you were to try and optimize the painting speed of the whole thing, for these models in particular, you can totally not play around as much with the flesh. You can definitely tell that I've been out of the game for a wee while. Putting a lot more pressure on brush bristles to the model. It's never a good idea. You should always try to paint with as little pressure as possible. That way it is the best, easiest way to control paint flow, paint transference from brush to model. Again, this is of course if you're shooting for general skill development and a higher overall quality, which these guys will definitely not be. But it's okay to use it, to use even them as sort of a training ground. There are only 4 guys that I'm currently in this stage with any flesh, so shouldn't take long. After that, I think I might go over the reds. And then I'm actually wondering a little bit how to go about things by patch paint. Highlights. Be more dominant surfaces, or do I instead go for model by model approach just to switch things up and just improve the experience? I remember last time I wanted to go over all of the sort of prepared models, um, do all the red, all the green, and whatnot. But by the time I had to do the texturing, pretty much the only gimmick that this entire project has. I was really burned out by the end of it. Like, I was really bored. Maybe breaking it apart might prove to be more beneficial. And I do always talk about this. I at least mention it. Playing around with ways to keep yourself entertained in your hobby. Even though I am someone who doesn't paint board armies, rarely, if ever, paint anything larger than a Blood Bowl team, and in this case, it's a tiny bit bigger Blood Bowl team. It's 19 models in total instead of the usual mandatory 11 and change when you want to ensure you have some dudes spare for league play or just for bench. There are some teams that benefit from this early on tournament rosters. Regardless, though, I'm getting distracted. Off topic. A point being, I paint a small number of models at a time, and even so, they are usually in some way uniform. Part of a gang, part of a team, part of a small squad, part of a small warband, whatever. There is usually some uniformity to them, or at least that is the overall premise. And so there are things that you would strive to keep consistent. And in doing so, you limit, so to speak, the freedom of your creative expression, to put it in a very overly obtuse way. And so here comes the question whether or not you want to, or how you want to go about keeping things fresh for yourself throughout the process. While patch paint is optimal approach, it is fairly soulless and as such kind of loose. Some of the involvement So you can do different things. You can batch paint some aspects, or focus on a single model, or some bits and pieces. Or switch it around. A couple models one way, models in another. But you shouldn't feel this like a slog or something like this. Going through the motions and being bored doing it is supposed to bring you pleasure and relaxation. Just overall good feels. So if you start feeling like you're missing those, stop, give yourself a moment, analyze what it is that is burning you out, and try to tackle it. Like I mentioned, we currently have 3 ways to tackle the exact same situation. So I have 4 dudes that are being base coated. So if I get bored of detailing and highlighting and whatnot, I can always go back to those and just lay on some base coats. It is still progress. It is still the same project. It is still something that needs to be done anyway. Whenever I'm focused, I can bring up a dude, do a detail, just in this case the fleshy bits. Fleshy bits are small on these models, very little in terms of surface, so I don't mind going over all of them once. The ones that are already done with the highlighting and shadowing, I can pick up and start to base. That's actually already 3, and you can have the 4th one, which is when we get to, or rather 2B, when we get to the more dominant surface taking textures, we can tackle them model by model. Like I can just take this guy and finish all of the red, all of the green, and all of the yellow, so on and so forth, before moving on to someone else. Just play it by ear. In the usual case of my buddies not being aware of my streaming schedule, it's not that I mind this or am particularly annoyed at it, it's just the schedule has not changed for a year and a half, so it's just the 2 days, the regular 3 to 3.5 hour time block. think I mentioned this before, but these blocker dudes are a anatomical symmetry nightmare if you actually look a little bit deeper into them, such as the waist being way too small and the faces being fairly um, amorphous. I can imagine how that face would look without the front rims. It'd be kind of scary. Just the protruding eyebrows. Didn't even bother painting the eyeballs on these guys. The blockers in particular, simply because it's way too much of a pain. I've seen some people do it, and kudos to them, but in my opinion, it's gonna be more trouble than it's worth. I will instead enforce the shadows. So I'll leave it there. Hello, Hubert. How's it going? Let's go just one step further and introduce a little bit of Islev flesh. Oh, sweet. Nice. Which team are you gonna paint now? Still the frogs? Or one of the other ones? Same, same. Nice. Good, good. Decided to give the a lo-fi playlist a shot today. Again, from the same author slash publisher. Kind of non-intrusive and pretty nice. Just tip of the nose. The damn it, what was the name of that? Scapula is below. Oh man, I knew this. The bone just below the eyes. This is what happens when you go away for a while. Completely forget your words. Alright. Y'all know what I mean and don't see it, hopefully. Oh yeah. The tip of the elbows as well. Probably not gonna be much very noticeable. Just a little bit extra. No time at all. So why not? Same thing for this Don Quixote looking feller. Nose. Here. Here. And the elbows as well. I'm seeing some fuzziness. I'm a little bit out of focus, but trying to stay in the general vicinity of where you can see stuff. You can see my horrible cleanup job. I did try to clean one of the Gears of War models. I was worried they might have like Reaper like properties, and that the material would be very bendy and therefore fairly hard to clean up mold lines on it. But I am happy to confirm that it is not the case. Clean up just fine. They are pretty fine, however, so might be a bit of a challenge to all of them out. There aren't many of them. They aren't very noticeable, but still, a once over wouldn't hurt. I'm gonna try and start preparing them just little by little, so I don't have to rush it. And these Bretts are done. Don't really have an idea about the color scheme I'm gonna use. For the 4 heroes, I'll probably go with different armor colors and hair color and what. But for I'm debating about the minions. There are quite a few of them, and if I start alternating colors for them, I drag on forever. Oh, so I'm not really gonna stick to the video game art for them because it is boring as shit. Works well on PC because you have all of the anti-aliasing and integrated weathering effects that give them some variety, but if I just paint all of them in the dark greens and grays and browns that they should be, miniature form, it's gonna look very boring, very dull. So, fair warning from now, figures of war dudes are not gonna look like your average cogs. Right, so that was that with the highlights. So let's cook up a batch of shadow. Move along. The good old base color, Bugman's Glow, and some sort of purple. Not a super dark purple. Let's introduce it to the palette. It's gonna be glazed in, so need a lot of color. I'm gonna water it down. This is one of those cases where I would have preferred to use the Pro Acryls, but I'm trying to keep using up whatever is left of the Citadels. I'm gonna struggle a little bit. Probably too much, but here is using the purple to deepen the flesh tone a little bit instead of give it a little bit of color variety and not that much, just make it a shade of purple. Should register as flesh again. Last time I went a little bit overboard with the purple, and it kind of started to look funny. Let's try it out on these guys where we really need to see that. Reinforce the eyeball crevices. I'm not gonna be painting the actual eyes. Mouth and much everywhere where you don't have pronounced highlights. I overdid it, of course, so back and reintroduce some of the highlight real quick. But yeah, it's gonna do. Nothing special, but like I already mentioned several times, the amount of flesh on these models is way too insignificant to prompt much attention to it. I have to say I'm liking this playlist a little bit more than Monday's EDM track lists. Really mellows down the mood. The point where if anyone were to fall asleep, I would not blame you in the slightest. If that happens to happen, well, we can all benefit from a nap every now and again, am I right? I know I sure can. For whatever reason, could not sleep yesterday. Got to bed at a perfectly reasonable time, but just tossed and turned like a fucking burrito. And as a result, energy levels are not exceptional today. They are particularly high anyway, but still a bit lower than usual. So here on these faces, going over the recesses and slightly covering over the highlighted areas. Try and blend in transitions. Nothing special, the same thing we always do. Faces. Place that I try to do with varying degrees of success. Again, with these paints, it's a little bit harder to judge. Your consistency is going to act as a glaze or going to have too much opacity to it, or if it's just going to be dirty paint water. A little bit of a colored tint, which technically should be the preferable state for a glaze anyway, but at the same time that would be something to use for a significantly larger model that we are trying to push much higher in the quality department. Let me just touch up the focus ever slightly. Okay, I think we are in the correct pull away from it. Let me know. Going over to the arms. Pretty much the same thing. Usual, whenever possible, the strokes paintbrush should go towards the place you want the most buildup of paint. So if you're building up shadows, you're going towards the deepest part of the recess. If you're building up highlights, you're going towards the most raised or brightly lighted area. You're kind of haloing the rest around with some slight strokes. And if you get your paint consistency right, should go on alright. In this case, not. We made it a little bit darker than we should have. Oh well. Moving along, pretending that this didn't happen. on this side. I thin down the thing. Okay, this dude came out. What, alright? It'll haunt you later. Yeah, maybe. Unless I forget. As long as it doesn't strike me as looking wrong from afar, I'll probably forget it in a while as I am jumping from model to model. It's not really gonna stand out in my, like, poke me in the eye as much. Just fade into nothing. Hopefully. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, lost dude, and then we move on to another color. If you haven't seen, Rebo announced, I think it was either today or yesterday, that they are introducing a new material with which they will be manufacturing their models to offer as an option. I think they called it Grey Blood or whatever. It seems to be one of those 3D printable resins. I think they may be moving into 3D printable models in general, so I expect their next projects will have STL options for their pledges. I'm not sure. Because it really looks like 3D printable, like the resins that you use in a 3D printer. Yeah, not sure as well. The initial thought was that they're gonna try and bring their production closer, so I don't think it's towards G-dubs, because this is not plastic. What they showed off isn't plastic. It's still some sort of resin polymer. According to what they said about the precautions that you need to take with the model, like not putting it in liquid for too long and whatnot, this is not something that you should have a problem with if it's the same type of plastic. With the multi-parts, yeah, maybe. Uh, but it's actually that they're going, that might be a thing, that they will be going for more dynamic poses for their models, because if you look back, most of their projects, most of their models are fairly, it's not that they're not dynamic, but they are engineered in a way that they can come out as either single part or just two-part models. And if they're gonna keep it 3D printable, they can still make them come out as one part, regardless of the dimensions of the model, if that makes sense. So they'll still be able to deliver one part models with a lot more dimensions. Because if they were to break them down from metal, like classic mold stuff, metal or resin, you would need to play around with assembly. If they printed, it's not gonna be with parts. They can print the whole model, but if they cast the model, it's gonna be in pieces. And it goes back to that discussion that we had with what was the name of that game? Runeblade? Yeah, I think it was Runeblade, where they are specifically aiming towards poses that they can cast in single bits, so you don't have to assemble and straight out play if you don't want to paint. Just slap them on a base and play straight out. Which is interesting, and it's becoming, again, they are kind of riding the edge of technology currently, Grebo that is, and are trying to introduce the benefits of 3D printing, with the few downsides that models themselves will be a little bit more delicate and you will have to take a little bit more care of them in regards to exposing them to the elements. I personally wouldn't pick this choice if I were to back another one of their projects. Wouldn't pick this particular material because I don't mind putting models together, and I do prefer to have a little bit more resilient materials and not have them melt from sneezing on them. But again, it depends. If they provided the STLs, which they did mention that RN Studio, I found out, has uploaded the STLs for 2 or 3 of their teams, which kind of got me thinking. I think they got the orcs, the humans, and some of the star players. Which in RN's case, it's pretty cool because they only came with the 16 model teams, and some of the teams require a few more models to make sure that you have spare linemen, like orcs, for instance. You get the 16 orcs. You get, well, actually, I don't know. Yeah, the positionals are almost over the team, what you can field in terms of limit. And so you're only left with very few linemen to use as substitutes. So if you had the STL, you can just sacrifice having one repeatable pose, but having something to fill in needed if you're playing in a league, that is. I do need to get in touch with Law Palmer Ammo and get my copy of the rules to give them a read through. See if something else came up rules wise. Maybe have another walk this weekend and see if some of the local game stores are open. Give them some flyers. the last rounds were pretty eek. What? Wait about what? What with what? Ah, the books, the rule books for BB. Yeah, yeah. I never. I think Emo received the shipment. Uh, we just haven't gotten together to for me to get them, or he hasn't. I don't know. It's been a while since that's been. Oh, that's cool. Let's go over the. What did I used to call these? Owls. I don't know. Just a quick highlight, barely noticeable. Mostly doing it just because I did it for the others and to keep things consistent. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Really barely see these highlights with the red. The point where I don't know why am I even bothering. Okay. Still just a bit too early to be absolutely sure, but probably the weekends or work days will be a bit tougher to put into action. But if you have any upcoming weekends with some free afternoons, it would be a lot easier. Thinking of picking up a small light box, taking consistent pictures whenever I manage to get anything done. I did find some really cheap ones, but uh, shipping isn't like. Did Brexit come into full effect? Does that mean shipping from the UK is gonna become close to not feasible? It's actually just not so much professional as much as saving me the hassle. Because I usually use the same lamp that I'm using right now for painting to light up the models for the pictures, and it's pretty high up. In order to get good lighting, I have to put some shoe boxes and whatever to keep the models higher up. That makes it a bit of a hassle because it's a janky setup. Light box will be just put the light box on, turn the lights on, put the model inside, take the picture, get it away. It's just gonna be a lot quicker, and hopefully it's gonna come out better, but meh. And it's like 20 bucks. It's just a cardboard box with some LEDs on it. But I'm gonna see if I can find one locally before ordering. And there are also some tutorials to make your own, but you still need to get the lights. And like I've mentioned, the lights that are needed are are harder to get separately than it is to get them as part of a kit, which is weird, but it is what it is. Which is something that's been rattling in the old noggin. Either way, I haven't been taking many pictures or any for a while, so there is still time. Mostly using this highlight to actually cover up any paint spills from other areas. So it's obviously not giving a lot of a highlight here. And when you consider that, sorry, when you consider that this is going to suffer a wash, going to completely disappear. But if in the slim chance that it remains visible, it's going to be a little bit of a plus. And I don't really want to play around with introducing highlighters to the highlight, considering that the texturing is going to be with basically white. Regardless of what I put under it is gonna land out. But still, doing my due diligence, going over the details. More for the sake of it than anything else, but still. Did you stick around last time after the raid when we went over to Mocha Minis at the end? Because it turned out I caught Epic Duck Mike right when he was ending his show. Because Mocha is also a very talented painter. He does these really creamy, just finishing. Okay. Yeah. I mean the stream that Mike rated, the Mocha one. He does these really nice creamy colors, very coffee reminiscent. It's a very recognizable style that's more to do with the colors rather than the application of it. Oh, I see. Okay. No worries. Right. Fair enough. People do prefer it that way anyway, due to. I don't know if they fixed it, but there was a point in time in which the people that you raid a channel with do not register as active viewers for that stream until you refresh and your screen, which is kind of weird. Pink Saurus. Hell yeah. It's one of these cases where no one can really dare to comment his fashion choice in his face. He's a freaking Saurus, so what the hell are you gonna do? Yeah, I think I saw some pink Sauruses over on Blood Bowl community page a while back. They look pretty decent actually. It's not a bad color. For scales. Or was it? It was some lizards for sure. I'm not sure if it was the Seraphon for AOS or the Blood Bowl sources, but definitely seen that. Oh yeah, you're right. That, that does make sense. Colorization is based on try. Exactly. I wonder if the estimates for the colors that we've been given in like textbooks and movies for dinosaurs are actually based off of currently existing lizards, or if there is more of an artist's touch to it in order to bring attention. 'Cause I've seen, I think, Triceratops being done in a more orangish color instead of the traditional lizardy scaly colors, more brown and green. Yeah, I actually haven't thought about that, the fact that we don't really know the colors of these dudes. And the annoying part that most of what we learned during the great dinosaur craze surrounding Jurassic Park and whatnot, most of that info has since been proven wrong. So, whatever you dig up from your brain from that time is almost certainly not true at this point in time. And that's kind of annoying because one point, I was very big into dinosaurs. Not anymore, but I kind of prided myself on what I knew about them, and little by little, everything turned out to be wrong. I was like, oh, boo. Well, I'm not relearning anything. I'll just forget everything and, and call it a day. What tricks? Yeah, probably not. Oh, right. Yeah, nah. As a matter of fact, I realized I only watched the first Jurassic Park and the last one, the newest one with Chris Pratt, Evolutions. And turns out that there were a lot more. Well, a lot, two more. So it might be a not too horrible idea to give them a shot at some time. Too many. Yeah, so I've heard, by the way. I've heard that they were not amazing. Was it the third one when one of them spoke? There were also some arguments in defense of them, but I'm not really gonna bring them up since I haven't actually seen the movie, so it wouldn't make sense. Defend something I know nothing about. Three at a whole. Yeah, the evolutions one was. And it always makes me think of Chicken Park, one of the dumbest parodies and oldest parodies of a movie. I think it's Italian made. And that one I remember vividly. And also, it wasn't a good parody at all. It was in in the quality range of Meet the Spartans. But it was more than, no, about 20 years earlier. And it's extremely hard to find it nowadays. Not even in torrent form. Okay, sorry. Seriously, nice. And 300 once. Yeah, that really was watch it once movie. There really isn't anything more to find out about it. And even though it was, again, with heavy graphic novel style in it, I liked it less than Sin City. And it turns out Sin City does have a sequel, which I watched and did not like. It's a lot more boring, although it did center on Mickey Rourke's character. It was just a bit too, I don't know, boring. Give Him Home Alone is a good Sin City like. Kind of captures the essence without using the same film style. Oh yeah, the first one I loved, and so I was really surprised when I found out that there was a sequel. And I watched it a lot later than it was released. And I had very, very high expectations that were just not met. Again, it wasn't bad, it just a bit meh, just a little bland. But the first one, yeah. The amount of times you've seen what Meet the Spartans probably is the amount of times I've seen Sin City back in the day. I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe it's time to give it a rewatch. And give him Home Alone as well. If I can find it. It's also a little bit obscure to dig up. It's weird because it has obviously has a budget and well-known actors in it. It's just you also see Frodo being eaten. Yep. That was a very strong selling point. I remember when you're trying to pitch that movie to people that don't necessarily go wild over film noir and graphic novels, you just tell them that Frodo gets chopped up to bits. Usually, usually does the trick. I watched Catherine yesterday. Christine, Catherine, bullshit. Christine, about the car, the evil car by Stephen King. It was a lot more tame than I expected. I expected it to be a lot more gruesome and bloody, but it was nice. Bit of a slow burn. I hadn't seen it before. So what to do now? Yeah, let's actually finish up the Reds. Why not? Yeah, I watched the movie with Keanu back in the day, and also part of the series that were released. I want to say recently, but it's probably 5 years ago, maybe more. Yeah, yeah. I actually liked it quite a bit. The movie that is. I actually pretty much liked the movie, and I'm really sad that they didn't do anything with it because Constantine as a character is really cool, and you can do a lot of shit with him, but it went nowhere. Both the movie and the series were just cancelled and discontinued, which was a shame. Same thing happened to Priest, I think. Was it Priest? I think it was. Full franchises that were just kind of slightly mishandled in terms of continuation. So over to yeah, it's really disappointing. Priest, where you can make the argument that the Constantine series was kind of okay. Yeah, but sadly the series were very bland. I think it came out later than it should have come out. We had already seen quite a bit of this type of series. Yeah, I've been thinking about Futurama recently, as a matter of fact. Someone did bring out Farnsworth's Good Day Everyone, and I was Good News Everyone, and I was thinking about it. How do you find the first season of Futurama? Because it's so much different than the rest. So much more tame. Yeah, that's definitely a good time. You love them all. Nice. Yeah, first episode, but it does build the world a little bit, and it sort of works as world building and setting up the atmosphere rather than bring the insanity. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Also, I think by the same guys, you can then take a look at Final Space, which was pretty nice. Yeah, yeah, I remember that first episode, and I think the first season as a whole was done quite a bit earlier than the rest. Not to mention that huge hiatus before the last 3 seasons of like 3 years. Yeah, so Final Space is a good follow-up, I think, to Futurama. Although it does ramp up the drama a little bit too high. Why do you cancel the good shows? I never understood that. Oh no, we're looking for the number two. Make the joke about it. Yeah, yeah. Was addressed in the first episode after the restart. Right, so let's see if I remember how to texture. There we go. Yep, that works. Also, with the contrast, you don't need to worry as much about any of that stuff. Just make sure you get it smooth all over the surface. That's about it. Are you thinking about playing around with giving them more highlights over the base coat, or are you just gonna rely on the effect from the contrast? Yeah, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Besides, you'll be getting a solid foundation, so if I beg to disagree. The pictures that you showed me were actually pretty nice. Comes out pretty well. Ah, dude, come on. But like I said, it will give you a good foundation, and even after you varnish them, if at some point in the future you feel like revisiting them, you can just build up on them without having to strip them or change anything in the original setup. So that's cool. That's actually the cool thing about the contrast in general is that it really gives you a nice solid start. And you can either leave it as it is, or you can build over it as much as you feel like. Hello, Zamkab. What's up? We are from Bulgaria, a tiny, a little country. Um, it is north of Greece and south of Romania. And welcome along. Oh, this guy is from Grebo. Yeah, it's a Grebo. The Kickstarter was called the Florence Knights, but it is a for a game called Blood Bowl, and within Blood Bowl rules, you can use them as the Bretonians from previous editions or Imperial nobility from the current one. Yeah, they're pretty nice. They've been sitting on my desk for about 3 years with just primer on them. And I decided it's high time they got some love and attention. Do you paint minis? 'Cause I don't remember seeing you around before. Sweet. In what general direction? Like sci-fi, fantasy, paint for the sake of painting, or for um, miniatures games? Also, if you feel like showing off, please feel free and encouraged to do so. This is a link friendly chat, so if you get something on Insta or Facebook, or even some. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, actually, if you have an Instagram, you can absolutely share it with the class. And if you have some pictures lying around, I can give you a link to a Discord server, to our Discord, where you can use it as a dumping ground, and we can look at them. Oh, sweet, the Malifaux stuff. I have always been so scared and intimidated by Malifaux models in general. I've had the samurai chicks, the ninja chicks for years. Yep, Twitter pics would do nicely as well. Again, if you feel like it, I will be more than happy to take a look. Yeah, I've been having the ninja chicks in the box for so long ago. Oh, really? Nice. Malifaux is fun, both in terms of models and gameplay. Alrighty, let's take a look. Oh, that's nice stuff, man. Wow, look at those blends. Man, that's awesome. Holy shit. And the non-metallic metal. God damn it, dude. Putting me to fucking shame, why don't you? And the glowing eye as well. Shit. Shame on you for painting this well. Awesome stuff. Truly. I like them a lot. Yeah, I saw that you covered it with Rusty Effect, but it comes out very well. So it actually used the foundation, so you can see the color buildup from the previous picture and how it turned out when you covered it when you put the rust over it. And yeah, it does work better within rotten and mm, rusted composition in general. Yeah, awesome stuff, man. Sweet. Now I got up my game. God damn it. Did you discover the hobby over the pandemic, or is it something that you've always been doing, or at least for a long time? Because based on them skills, I'm gonna assume you've been doing this for a while. But yeah, I'm just trying to put a little bit of texture on these calls and move along. Ah, nice. That's an interesting transition. A rather original story. Very nice. But yeah, it's a lovely, relaxing way to pass the time. For a long works day, long day's work. Sit down and chill, nerd out, and put some paint on some plastic dudes, men, and dudes, ladies, and monsters that are hard to define. And robots. Some people like robots as well. No. Totally exploding here. Is that were the zombies something that you're currently working on, or something from way back when, and setting up for to ask you like, what are your have you picked out any other ideas, any other minis that you would like to get and get jiggy with them twice? Yep, because with Hubert we're kind of in the same gaming group, so we're pretty much aware of each other's projects. And if you can tell, this is a fairly small channel, so sorry to do this to you, but you are gonna become little bit of a center of attention. Let me know if this in any way bothers you, by the way. I'll stop her immediately. It's just I'm always curious to find out people are doing in their hobby. Oh, nice. This has been happening a lot recently, and it makes me real happy. Um, People getting back to the hobby and picking up where they left off. Really nice to hear. And in the meanwhile, the painting community has grown quite a lot, painting and gaming as well. And oh yeah, where do I? Hmm. There are a lot of channels right now that mostly deal with busts. I can suggest Snake Sun from Greece. He's painting some beautiful busts right now, and also all of the members of the local painter community. We also have an actual sculptor that does busts and has STL files for 3D printing. We sometimes organize a multi-stream where we paint. Hey, thank you for the follow, dude. And yeah, we get around, chill out, paint some busts and other models. In fact, let me show you what was the last one that I participated in. It was this Mirror Queen that we got 3D printed, and I tried to do a grayscale and a reverse grayscale with a negative. Didn't work out so well. I might get back to her someday, but for the time being, it was an interesting experiment to try out something. Oh, absolutely! Do not hesitate for a moment. Let's check it out. Oh, so you're doing scale models as well. Nice. Wicked weathering. Something I always have been wanting to do correctly is weathering on hard surfaces. So far, I've been getting it very cartoony, so I should either settle for that fact or... Yep. No, I think it's too small for an elephant. Is it? Is it an elephant? Sweet. Yeah, very nice. Not excessive on the weathering, because you very often see these people where they just tiny tank destroyer. Yeah, sweet. Where they just go way overboard with the weathering, especially. And I like very much the fact that you kept the tank threads clean, like on the inside, because it would make sense that there wouldn't be rust on the moving parts that are constantly lubed up by machine oil and the stuff. and that it would be one of the parts that get the most maintenance. So I really like that. And the notches for the very sweet. Nice. Oh, um, just put a couple of notches here to simulate that I'm doing something. That as well. Okay, let's take a look. God damn it. Stay. Stay. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, so it is very much close to it. Oh, you know what? I'm confusing it with a mouse. That's the thing. Because I remember the one that's a lot more like a box, a lot flatter. The one that actually never was really. I don't think the mouse ever really made it on the field. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I'm just being dumb here. The Italeri Tiger Elephant. Oh, so it's the Tanger chassis with the elephant off. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's where the my overall confusion came from. Oh, nice for the Crocs, for the Saurus. Yeah, and it's not really that pink at all. It's a nice bright. It's not violet. It's not magenta. I think it's violet. Whatever. Anyway, and they look nice again. Do not downplay yourself. Yeah, grayscale is very cool to try out, but it does really test your your ability first for the appropriate light placement and also the texturing, and that's what kind of put me on the road to play around with trying to simulate the actual textures of the materials as opposed to just relying on the color, inevitably making my life a lot harder in the process. But once I get the hang of it, I think it's gonna be a worthwhile endeavor. Let's boot. Oh yeah, let's look at this. Oh man, so cool. So smooth. Man. Shit. Looking good, man. Real good. Again, those non-metal metallic skills coming through even on the grayscale. It really puts an emphasis. Um, like if you get it well with colors, you can get it well with just grays and blacks. So yeah, really awesome. I really dig the smoothness of it, and I am openly envious. You could try and do the reverse grayscale, so like a picture negative, just for shits and giggles on another model. Well, leaving your skills to mature over time, I guess, is a thing now. It's definitely good stuff. 2 more dudes. Yeah, there is a lot to that. Like, sometimes sitting on a problem or a puzzle instead of just tackling it does prove better results at the end. And it's again, I'm going to just highlight and emphasize on how happy I am that people are going back into the hobby. It really is a cool hobby. Very rewarding personally, like on a personal level. Just feels good to do it. Yeah, I totally get you. What do you mean freedom in that? a lot less self-imposed restrictions, like in terms of color choices and techniques to use, or like without fear of making an error or conforming to a particular style of painting or approach to painting. Oh, that is great. Yeah, absolutely. Just do it the way you see it in your mind and jump for it and go for it. And it does make sitting on the painting table, that approach is making sitting on the painting table a lot easier because you don't dread the fact that you might make a mistake or that you're gonna try something that's more difficult. Just keeps the process going. Awesome. Oh yeah, absolutely. And even if you do want to play, you can still always make modifications and paint the way you want it. There are very, very few instances where uh, color by lore will get you any like bad looks by the people who play. Yep, absolutely. Pink lizards, blue lizards, whatever color lizards you want to have, you get. Moves. Fat slam. Yeah, we could have done something with green stuff if you had that idea initially. And the last night out of this. Actually, that is the last night. The other is already. An 80s chick. Sweet. Fair enough. Oh, yes, please. Please do. Never doubt the crazy stuff people can come up with in their spare time. Like, my ex is going to be opening her own dojo for Shibari soon. And that came out of the blue, like, completely shocked me very pleasantly. Gotta give her a call, see how it's going. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I see where the '80s reference comes from. uh, Looks good, man. Looks good. I thought they were actually like you were gonna do like actual textured, uh, fleshy boobs. Instead, you went for the much more stylish approach and give her give her a shirt. Oh, that's all right. Still very characterful. Model doesn't need to be new to look good. I really hate it when I have to death grip my paintbrush like this. Try to avoid it. Sometimes the angle just demands it. Hmm. Yeah. Makes me think about the orcs that I have to convert. They're gonna be a while away in terms of when their time will come. That's gonna be a lot of chompy chompy. Okay. I can fix these silly blobs that I made here. Still have the paint on my palette. Alright, now let's ruin everything by drowning it in wash. So we can actually call the reds done with these guys and move on to other bits and pieces. It's gonna be good old Agrax Earthshade as usual. The idea is that I don't want the red to stand out on these models and instead focus on the green and the yellow as the main colors. So we need to bring the red down along with the texturing. And then spend the rest of today's session doing some more base coats on the guys we started on Monday. No, not really. But we do try get together. We do have regular leagues. Um, that's a seasonal thing, and we try and do a few tournaments per year as well, like single standouts. But last year was, needless to say, a bit difficult in that regard. Currently, we are waiting for the game stores to open up a little bit more to have the software for the new edition of the rulebook set and possibly recruit some new players to join. So soon we should be starting with the new season. But overall, it's not something that happens too often. We did manage a few get-togethers last year, but very, very few. And we're also looking into some other games to start playing. Sorry, such as Necromunda and Mordheim and maybe Kill Team. All of that is gonna take a little bit of time for us to get around. So if things normalize soon, there will be a lot of new things to explore, which is always nice. And with the washers, as usual, I just slap them down and then soak up the excess so it doesn't get way too dirty, like dirtier than it should be. I just want to mute the color with like film over it and not overemphasize the creases. Supposedly, supposedly, I've already given a sufficient amount of color depth. Isn't the case for the reds, but still, it's where I'm coming from as a concept. And it's just a quick and easy way to kill the brightness wherever you don't want it. And also when you're painting like this particular team, because I'll be using it for both Bretonnians and Imperial Nobility, I had to get some extra models. And this team is going to get a total of 19 dudes, which is probably the most dudes I've painted at a single time. Yes, yes, it does. I think it was 34/7. 34/7. Do a quick check, cause yeah, it's a female vocalist. Hmm. No, it doesn't come up. Damn it. It's one of those kind of dark electronic industrial stuff. Don't know how to look at it now. Now that you've mentioned these are the only lyrics that I can remember out of the song. All I can tell you in addition is that it was a female vocal. 30 Seconds to Mars, no. 4-Star Mary, nobody calls for no. Pretty FS. 4-Foot Fingers. 4 Jacks. Nah, man, sorry, I won't be able to. If I come by it in any of the playlists that I play over the course of the day, I will link it to you. And I'm sorry, I know how maddening it can be to get such a small chip of a song stuck in your head, which is why I jumped to try and find it, but I'm sorry. Anyone watching this or on YouTube knows, please link it in the comments. As we all know. I remember in cases like this, I used to call buddies at like in the middle of the night, just can't sleep thinking about it. So it's the bad feels. And it's probably not the right lyrics either. But, it's kind of like you remember that British chick that does the presentations with the pop-up picture books that has things like lyrics you hear wrong when you're hungry. I think I shared it on Facebook a while ago. It's very likely that the lyrics have nothing and coming with what we were looking for. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, right? She's real funny. In the future, this is going to be made easier by I finally got my mahogany. Yo, FX, what's up, man? Happy New Year. May it be better, brighter, and shinier than the previous one. Doing well, thanks. Just getting back streaming and painting after a few weeks off. Just recharge the batteries and do some other dumb shit. How about yourself? Anything new? Anything at all on the painting and possibly personal? You're good at all or not good at all? Because, or kind of, kind of can both. Oh, you're good. Okay, good, good. Had me worried for a moment there. All fine so far. Well, fingers crossed that that is the general direction that things will keep on being. Okay, well, went over one whole detail across 5 models. Until 31st of Jan. Do we have any news on our like lockdown and stuff? Because it was supposed to be till the 21st of December, but then they soft extended it, but I have no idea till when. Yeah, I kind of grew accustomed to home office in particular. I never thought I'd grow so fond of it. 'Cause I was really afraid that working from home would get the lines between where the workday ends and the personal life begins to get those lines to blur, but wasn't really the case. Yeah, it's non-happening, but it has been soft extended in a way. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah, I see how that would be a significant additional challenge. Yeah. But aren't there like the virtual meeting rooms and stuff for school now? Or have they just given up at this point? Oh, I see, I see. So I think it was a massive jump and kind of jumping blind for a lot of places. Kind of a sink or swim situation. Because it, on the other hand, however, this is going to prove very beneficial for the future. I think, like it's once things go back to normal, there will be time to invest time and resources and sort of build up a much better virtual environment for a lot of the things that we didn't think can be done over the internets. For instance, something that is going to be implemented at my job is going to be a much looser requirement for office presence. So, since the teams are and have been growing steadily, knock on wood, for a while, the building has difficulties accommodating everyone, and they've been looking for ways to find a way to make us all fit. And so it's going to be only a 50% requirement to be in the office. So 50% of the staff will need to be in the office, and the rest can stay at home. And it's going to be a cyclical thing. So that's very positive. And it was this that pushed it, because otherwise we had a very weird work from home policy. It was possible, but weird. And now that we've all experienced it, it's going to be a lot easier to inform. As a matter of fact, I'll have to do some. I'll have to do some induction trainings for some people that start work tomorrow, and introduce them to the future world of today, how things work remotely. It's going to be interesting. So back to base coding. It's interesting going around in this banner. A little bit of detailing and then a little bit of base coding for other models within the same project. Trying to keep things fresh and avoiding burnout while still making constant small progress on the project. Playing around with these options for. Oh yeah, the ones that you shared last time. I can't remember. Did you say that you 3D printed them yourself, or did you get them printed somewhere else? Oh, they're cast. Okay. Hello, Dr. Tentacle. A happy new year to you. Uh, these are actually Blood Bowl minis. Do not feel disappointed or betrayed. It's just a more medieval themed theme, kind of. Six alternate costumed models, sweet. Yeah, because of the whole cowl thing. Um, Here's how a partially painted one looks. I still need to do some of the cleanup, some highlighting on the textures, but yeah. So how's things with you, Dr. Tentacle? Been a while since we've been able to chat and talk. Same goes for everyone else, of course, because holidays and whatnot. I did get a new mic. I don't know if you can hear the difference or if I hadn't set it up properly. But I was very annoyed with the audio quality. Trying to do some little improvements. Ups and downs and same old shit. Sounds like life. Yeah, alright. Good to know. Thank you, man. Yeah, during their local stream, all my tech just decided to fuck off and die. Uh, Face camera froze. I got a new face cam as a result because I just couldn't deal with its capricious nature. Just too loco. Yeah, couldn't handle it. Did you start cyberpunking or are you not into that? Yeah, so, so loco, I can put you to sleep. Especially with uh, today's playlist. Oh, nice. Yeah, the initial. I think it's a game that would be best experienced, like when the either the Game of the Year edition comes out, or when the complete edition comes out, just so they have time to iron out all of the kinks and get all of the additional content in that's undoubtedly coming out. Yeah, it's. I think that's pretty much the best approach because it's too big of a game for you to suffer through in a fairly well not complete state and then go over it again. It's kind of one of those things that you probably play through once and put aside. The dog's sitting in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, holy hell. So yeah, things are actually a bit worse than initially thought out. What this game did make me think of, however, are some other good cyberpunk titles that I never got around to play or finish up playing. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Such as the new Deus Ex games, both of them. I played quite a bit of the first one, the Human Revolution? Human Revolution? No, which one was the first one? Human Revolution or Mankind Divided? Either way, played the first one more, and Yeah, pretty much. And when you think about it, the gameplay that we're seeing from um Cyberpunk isn't all that different. And for a more traditional RPG approach game, I'm thinking about starting again the Shadowrun Hong Kong, because I did beat the Shadowrun Returns and Dragonfall, but I burned out before I could truly get into Hong Kong, and I know that's the biggest one of the bunch, so should get in fresh. Yeah, that was the best thing about the Shadowrun series, that there is relatively little to read. Like, um, it's not the extended novel that, let's say, an old Baldur's Gate would be. And for the first couple of games, the writing was extremely captivating. Because I'm the kind of person that is also kind of put off by too much reading in the old RPG styles. But with Shadowrun, it kind of just sailed smoothly. Dragonfall just grabbed me from the first couple of minutes. Something about the writing, something about the story just really resonated. Oh, did Baldur's Gate 3 like come out? Like out of alpha, beta, and early access? I thought it was still getting the creases ironed out. Wasteland 3 also looks good. I was initially kind of put off by it, but then I saw some actual gameplay and it looks very solid. And you can play it with a controller as well, so you can lay back on the couch and have a long ass play session, which is awesome. Which reminds me, I need to finish Wasteland 2 as well. A lot of things to do with my free time. First world problems, I know, but still. Better thing to worry about than a lot of the other real shit, so might as well focus on that. Something I do really want to change this year, as opposed to last year, was to pay a little bit more attention to my Steam library. 'Cause getting it's been gathering dust more than the models, and that is not okay. I touched on that last stream, but over the holidays I did go through pretty much the entirety of the Dead Space series, and I was left very, very, very satisfied with them. Got a little bit of the third one to go through, but one and two were a joy. Yeah, yeah. And for some reason, it seems to be like, if you're playing it on normal, at least, kind of feels to be like the easiest one out of the bunch. The next two kind of ramp up the thing. On the other hand, the first one is a lot more atmospheric. Like, you really get the cold horror vibes, which isn't as prominent in two and effectively doesn't exist in three. So if you can get through the technical nightmare that it is to actually start Dead Space 1, because it requires you to force the frame rate and the VSync through the video card instead of the in-game options. Otherwise, it just breaks. Yeah, 3 is to milk the cow, but it does have some decent ideas in it, some decent introductions, mechanics, and stuff. So I can't 100% condemn it. I was very wary when I started it because I knew that it was um, shot down by pretty much all the people that enjoyed the first two. But it's not horrible, not in the slightest. It is a little bit too repetitive and too action focused. That's true. It does have both. So the one that you're probably thinking about is 3, where the co-op is kind of forced down your throat, and it looks a bit weird when you don't play it with a co-op partner. But they did tack on a co-op mode for 2, although it's not intrusive and you can't tell if it's there during a single player run. But there was an expansion that added, or a DLC that added the co-op to 2 as well. Although I'm not really sure how that will work out because 2 isn't designed to be co-opted. Anyway, if you watched the latest Game Awards show, which was somewhere in December, late December, they teased a game that very remarkably reminded me of Dead Space. It's a different franchise, it's a different name of the game, something like Occult something something. But they did have the health meter on the back of the collar of the shirt, and the monster that appeared at the end. It was like a minute and a half teaser trailer, but it was very much something that you'd see, you would imagine Dead Space to look like in the new age. So we might have something from something coming out within a similar universe. So that's cool. Actually, that's actually what pushed me over the line to restart and go through the franchise. As we all know, so Visceral Games got destroyed by EA after the fact that they couldn't deliver Call of Duty sales figures to a niche environmental horror game, survival horror game, which was somehow a surprise. So it might be from people from Visceral, but really, it really was just a very short teaser. And it's pretty much the only thing that got me excited out of that whole show. Which goes to show you what the state of current games development is. The only thing was, yeah. So yeah, I'll try to play some more games this year as well. Shits and giggles. Probably not on stream. I tried that, and well, you can see the YouTube videos of it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's possible. It makes a lot more sense than 34/7. But it was so. Maybe it's dirty 24/7. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Maybe that's the key. Hmm. Yep, there it is, Grendel. Not gonna play it on stream, but I'm gonna link it. Phew, that was a good catch. I think should be that one. Is that it? Second. Sweet. So that's it, right? That's the one. Yeah. Nice. Oh, that's one mystery solved. I think I feel a bit of fulfillment. Good old Grendel. Yeah, because it's prominent in pretty much most playlists that are of this style. Oh. Let's paint some more brown and probably call it a night. We are getting near. About half an hour more. I'll be off. Eat some food. I do feel a hunger encroaching. Mhm. 9th and 10th. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, we can definitely set something up. How's Sunday? Is Sunday good for you? Okay, super. So we can clear out the details, like where and when exactly, off stream. But yeah, get a start on some table topping, some blood bowling. Model wise, nobility is probably a no-no. Yeah. I mean, technically, they should be somewhat easy to represent, and that almost all quick 10 years ago human team. Oh, those humans, yeah. Yeah, that would work. So you only need, you can deal with you have the 4 blitzers, you can get the linemen. What are you gonna do for the blockers, though, from the old team? Because you don't have unless you have the 4 catchers, which is gonna be a bit weird looking. Hmm. Or 2 catchers and 2 throwers to substitute. Bretonian's finest. Wait. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Bravest. Sweet. But yeah, the only problem is that you need two sets of four identifiable models, and with the humans you get, so the blitzers you get them done straight out, but the blockers, the yeoman, would be a bit tougher to put together. Maybe with some orcs, just for the sake of, of being recognizable. Oh, from fantasy. Okay, gotcha. Right. Ah, you mean the models themselves? Hmm. Hmm. I guess humans, maybe. If you don't want an ability. Yeah, probably humans. Again, if you don't want to try out mobility. Because yeah, they didn't release um, teams of legends or Brits. Sadly. I did see Corn though. Did they release something new for Corn? Or were they in the old one? In the well, the new old one. I don't remember Corn being included before. And I saw Bonehead podcasts. Uh, oh, with passing. Corn's from NAF, yeah, but I saw them in Bonehead podcast was doing their list building stuff, and they had a Corn episode. Haven't seen it, um, but it looked weird. And it would be there. Gonna check it out. Maybe it's not for new blah blah. So what was specific about the not for making them official? Oh, okay. So they did rewrite their own rules. All right, gotcha. That's cool. That's really cool. We gotta see if they've been added to to the Sans list building that we're probably gonna be using for the league. Oh, okay. That's for the Brits, you mean? But the Fumble one, does it have? Is it adapted for season 2, or is it still using the current, well, the old rules now? Fumble Secret Leagues, right? Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know that it is in the works. Not in the foreseeable future. Well, still, I will mark this down as good news. I'm just gonna be finishing up with this boot. And then we might look for someone to pass the ball on to. If anyone has ideas or suggestions or preferences of any kind, I'll lay them out. Needs more boobs. I was referring to the stream where we were to raid, but I think I can probably make this work. That is true. That is true. May sound bad, but it is the truth. Cannot deny this with a clear conscience. Mad Max, okay. Yeah, I'll be done with in like 5 or 10 minutes max. So I don't think I've ever checked them out, so it might be a good idea to introduce ourselves with a tiny mouse size raid over them. It's about as far as I can take it for today. Let's start wrapping things up. Oh, thank you too for joining, for coming along, and to all, of course. Thank you for coming, thank you for following, thank you for hanging out, and having a blast. As usual, I will most likely be back on. Cheers, see you all. And let's see, what did you say? Mad Max miniatures? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Mm. Single. All right. Singular. There we go. Alrighty, y'all. Once again, keep doing what you love and loving what you do. Thank you all for being around. Have a lovely rest of your evening. I've been about to call you, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye bye.